Good evening, everybody. Alex StarCraft here, bringing you guys another StarCraft commentary for the first time, really, since I've been at college. I did manage to get one, or been back at college, I should say. I did manage to get one almost up a few days ago, but then about 10 seconds after I finished the replay, my power supply on my computer blew a resistor. So that was no fun. So I've got another one I should be uploading soon, and currently I'm doing this one. And I'm very excited to get back into the casting. Now, this one is going to be from one of the players that I did want to cast a game from a few days ago, but both times I failed. You'll hear about that in my other cast, my hitting of the wrong buttons and turning my computer off with my foot. But it's going to be between Evil Genius's EGIdrA, the green zerg, in the 9 o'clock position, and mouzMorroW, the red terran, in the they switched that, the 3 o'clock position and the 9 o'clock position. Now, many of you may be wondering, Morrow used to play Zerg. He apparently does play Terran now, making me very sad. He was one of my favorite Zerg players. But if any of you heard that door, that was just my roommate stepping out. But he did used to play Zerg. It makes me very sad that he doesn't anymore. He was one of my favorite. But it'll definitely be interesting to see him as a Terran player, and especially to see, I think he switched over maybe a few months ago. But you'll have to see that when you have a player that just switched over, of course, he's been playing for a few months, he's a very good player, but when we have someone like EGIdrA, who's been, of course, playing Zerg since StarCraft 2 came out, really, and he's one of the best foreigners, we'll have to see how Morrow does. So, we just have very standard openings. We have the hatch first from EGIdrA, and just the barracks then gas coming down from Morrow, so it doesn't look like we'll see any kind of real 2-racks aggression or bunker aggression, anything like that. And so this game, it's also from a little bit ago. It's about it's from patch 1.3.6, I believe, so it's from a little bit ago. It was just recently uploaded to SC2 Rep, which is just where I happened to find it. But so that does mean it's a little bit out of date. We're currently on patch 1.4.2. But if I recall correctly, the only big changes in patch 1.4 was really the immortal range. And, of course, that doesn't really have that much of a difference in this game because there's not a Protoss. They also did change the ghost range a little bit. They changed the radius of an EMP. But we'll have to see if that comes into play in this game. But it was a very small radius change, so we'll have to see. As I said, now, Morrow finally managing to scout the Zerg. He's just going through, he sees the gas timing, he sees the spawning pool, he sees everything. Of course, we do know, you could see he expected a hatch first, because he didn't even scout the main base, he just scouted right here. And this is the MLG version of Metalopolis, I believe. I don't think it has this in the ladder version. Well, you can know this is not a ladder game, because Idra's green, he would not be green. I wonder what this SCV is going to do down here. Probably just going to stay and scout a little bit later. We'll have to see. I can't imagine him doing any kind of weird proxies or anything. He's just got some Hellions on the way. Yeah, he's going back in and scouting. This will probably let him see any kind of tech if Idra's going for, like, roaches, if he was going to go for banelings, anything like that. But you see, of course, he just got this gas up, so not much tech is really an option. We do have EGIdrA actually doing an extractor trick. He doesn't let it complete. But this can be good because it just slows down the Terran a little bit. It prevents their ability to go for, say, any kind of fast star play, or starport play. And it prevents them from doing anything like a double factory Hellion or anything like that. Any funny business, basically, that EGIdrA just does not want to have to deal with. And instead, it looks like Morrow is going to be giving him exactly the game he wants, a big macro game. We do have the command center coming down right now from Morrow. At the same time, we have EGIdrA throwing up the spine crawlers, anticipating these Hellions. This is actually something I heard another caster talking about last night, because it is really true now. Zerg players expect the Hellions. If the Terran doesn't send Hellions, it's a weird exception, because really they almost always send Hellions. So a lot of times Zergs will get these spine crawlers, and you're seeing what a lot of Terrans are starting to do now is they'll either go for a pretty big macro game like Morrow is doing right now, or they'll do something where they go for maybe a 2-racks, and then they can go for Hellions, and then they can go for Banshees, and then they transition into the standard thing, just to kind of try and get around whatever defenses the Zerg does have. So, I'm not exactly sure what to say right now. Everything just seeming fairly standard. Actually, it looks like Morrow's going to be going for some more Hellions. Actually, no, the reactor, I'm sure, will be for for medevacs, and then we do have the more barracks on the way. So I'm assuming that this is just going to be the very standard, you know, marine tank play. Morrow is finally grabbing that expansion with a few marines and a few Hellions. He's sending down some SCVs, getting a supply depot. Wouldn't be surprised to see him get a bunker, but of course versus EGIdrA you don't really have to worry about that aggression that much. EGIdrA, he has become more aggressive recently because he realizes it's necessary, but generally you'll see he's content to just sit back and macro. He's already up 43 drones to the 29 of Morrow. And we do see the lair on the way, the baneling nest, some zerglings, some more drones, his 4th extractor, all this fun stuff. It's just sitting back and macroing, and so is Morrow. Now actually if we look at the Luna's loss stuff, yeah, we've seen each person has lost one thing. I believe for EGIdrA that was probably just his extractor, and then, or maybe an extractor and a zergling, and for what's his name, Morrow, he just lost a worker, I imagine. So for right now, everything very even, big macro game. We do see Morrow just doing this little sort of wall off, stuff like that. And this is really almost the difference you can see between the a lot of the Korean players and the North American players. You see these players like EGIdrA are just going for like this huge macro game. If someone did this against Linok, who, for those of you who don't know, he's one of the better Korean Zerg players at the moment, he would just do a baneling bust. He would just break down this entire thing, and the Terran would be dead, because all he has... Oh, well, he has about 20 Marines, so that's not bad. It looks like he's going to be going for a drop here. He's just sending them across the middle of the map. Now, he's actually doing a very good job. He's clearing out the Zelnaga Tower just before. The Zergling might have gotten caught that really quick, but I don't think so. Now, these Zerglings are actually not going to see it. Wow, great job from Morrow. He's actually doing some Hellions. It looks like he's going to drop the Marines on maybe the low ground or the high ground. He's going to elevator these Hellions up. Now, it seems like EGIdrA does see this. He is prepared. He does have a few Zerglings, a few Banelings. He's morphing in some more, as well as his Queen. He is going to lose his Overlord. Luckily, that won't supply block him. He's very on top of his macro. Now, he's going to try and... Oh, big hit with the Baneling there, killing 5 or 6 Marines, and it looks like now Morrow has to lift up all his Hellions, lift up his units, and just run. Because EGIdrA was actually pretty prepared for that. He had his Queens, he had Zerglings ready. You can see they're about equal supply now, but EGIdrA still does have the 52 drones he wants, or he would like to have at this point. Now you see he's also throwing down a macro hatch somewhere on the map. There it is. As well as his 3rd base, and Morrow does see this. He's very aware of the timing. He's going around and killing it. He's going to see if he can do any damage, but I'm sure with these Zerglings here that EGIdrA will be fine, because he actually does have this great creep spread. The Zerglings are actually going to be very fast. They're going to be very capable of getting the surround. And if he actually decide to run around the back, all these Marines could die, but I'm sure Morrow will lift them up as soon as needed. We'll have to see in just a second. Baneling's coming and actually getting some good hits on the Hellions. He does pick up all of the Marines, and he's headed those out. And we do have the Spire is finished for EGIdrA. He does have the 2 Mulus on the way. Now, one thing EGIdrA is actually most well known for is his fantastic Mulus control. You can see he has a very high APM. When I switch to the tab, Blazing Weight 324. Right now he's got about 180. Morrow has about 190. So both of these players are very fast players. But EGIdrA is really known for his Mulus control. He's known for the ability he has to constantly pressure the Terran and not really lose a whole lot. He's very responsible with his Mulisks. And you can see behind this, he's droning up, teching up. It looks like Morrow was actually anticipating this. He does have a few missile turrets. I'm assuming, yeah, 1 in the mineral line back here, 2 over by the gas. And looks like he's not going to throw down here for now, but he does have these Marines in position. The Mulus is flying around, seeing if they can do any damage. And we do have this 3rd command center coming out for Morrow. So they're about even on bases, but we can see the supply is starting to favor the Zerg, as it often does when their macro starts to kick in. You see EGIdrA just jumping up to 70 drones. So he's got maybe 5 or so more drones before he's done droning for the game. But now we are going to see him start to switch into like the mass unit production. He's got the Infestation Pit, 18 Zerglings, Mutilusks, and a 4th base on the way. And his flyer attacks are just about to finish, as well as his +1 melee. But we do have these Mutas just kind of following around more, but, opened the APM tab by accident there, but it's a cool little thing to see, especially with such big numbers. They've got probably about 5, 6, 7 times the APM I do, and many people do. So very interesting to watch. We do see EGIdrA, as I said, very good control with these Mulus. He hasn't really lost a lot. You can still see very little loss this entire game, especially for EGIdrA. He's only lost about 1,000 minerals. And so he's actually in very good shape right now. I wouldn't say he's that far ahead. He is getting to macro like he likes, which is a very dangerous thing for a player to let EGIdrA do. But Morrow doing a very good job with these missile turrets and these marines, keeping all his bases fairly well defended from these mutalisks. Oh, sorry about that yawn there. I didn't get a whole lot of sleep last night. Though we do see IGIdrA actually, he's starting to have enough mutalisks. He's got about 20 that he's getting to the point he's actually probably going to pick off a tank if he's watching. Doesn't look like he was, but he is going to maybe get the factory. Yes, he is going to get the factory. And so we see this. Oh no, he's got SCVs right on that. Very good job from Morrow. IGIdra's actually looking back. He's losing a lot, but he actually is enough to just kill all the Marines. He's going to be able to just run and kill these SCVs. He's going to want to stay away from that missile turret because he's already lost a lot. But this is the point where Terran players really need to start to worry. When Zerg players start to get this big flocks of mutas, like 18, where they can one-shot missile turrets, they can take on small groups of Marines. They don't have to be afraid. And IGIdrA again doing a very good job keeping up on his tech. He's got the pathogen glands +2 upgrades on the way for air and ground. He's got the hive tech coming. We just have a huge zergling swarm here in the middle. Pretty good creep spread. And Morrow is a little behind right now. You can see he has lost still about 1,500 more than IGIdrA has. He's doing a pretty good job keeping up on his... he's doing an okay job keeping up on his upgrades. He actually doesn't even have the infantry attack level 1. He might have actually or armor, I should say. He might have actually forgotten about that, and that would not be good. And IGIdrA actually has a lot of banelings on the way, too. So this is a huge swarm of units, and this is where Morrow has to be very worried. He does have these tanks sieged up. He's got a pretty good strong point, but you can see his army is kind of spread all over the place, so we're going to have to see. He does take a few hits right there, but it's going to be very scary for Morrow holding off from this huge Zerg force. Now, what IGIdrA might have done right there is he might have pushed on purpose just to try and deny any expansions and mostly keep them contained while he starts off this high yield. He knows that this has probably not been spotted yet. He does have his mutas over. He's actually getting some corruptors as well. He's got the adrenal glands, and IGIdrA is just on top of his macro as he always is. He's got 83 drones, which is almost a perfect number for a Zerg against a Terran. And IGIdrA, man, there's a reason he's one of the kings of macro. Now we do have the Thor popping out. Very lucky for IGIdrA the Thor was not attacking, because if the Thor got off one attack, that could have been huge with all those mutas balled up. Now we do have the attack coming down, but IGIdrA managing to get on top of all the Terran units before the siege tanks are really ready. And so he does waste a lot of banelings on the tanks there, and Morrow actually doing a very good job splitting his Marines. But overall, that battle, I think, definitely went in IGIdra's favor. He lost a lot of banelings and a lot of zerglings, but he does have the infestors on the way now, and he does have a lot of mutas, and as you can see, he has a lot of minerals. He can remake those zerglings really quickly. He's actually forcing the high yield to cancel, because right now, Morrow just has a lot of Marines, really too many for these mutas to deal with. Now, ideally, right now, IGIdrA would be able to try and do some work with the mutalisks, but again, Morrow just doing such a good job. You can see he's even got the sensor tower, which is what this thing is. Any unit that comes within this, whether it's in the Fog of War or the black part of the map that you can't see or not, he sees that there's units there. He knows to pull his units back to defend that position. And now we actually have some Thors mixed in as well, which are to make sure that the mutalisks do not clump up. The mutalisks clumping up against Thors can be absolutely disastrous. All those Thors could probably kill all of these mutas in 2 shots if IGIdrA does not control them properly. So now Morrow is actually making a bit of a comeback here. He's only 10 supply behind now. He's scanning. He's going to try and take down his high yield again. But we do have IGIdrA coming in from 2 sides, it looks like. But actually some of his zerglings getting sidetracked. Looks like he's probably going to be able to get some big fungals, a lot of infested Terran. But he actually doesn't have quite enough zerglings. He's actually probably going to have to maybe... No, he doesn't quite have to pull back with these mutalisks. But you can see, even though Morrow has lost a lot, he has also taken a lot out of IGIdra's supply. He's knocked IGIdra's supply down by about 50, and he's not any further behind than he was at any point before. Now Morrow is actually way oversaturated here. He does have the planetary fortress, and I would say previously a lot of Terrans would have just grabbed this high yield, but because of the threat of Broodlords, which of course with all these corruptors and the hive are a very big threat, with Broodlords present on the map, they can just sit right here and they can just shell away at all these guys, and it's really not very good for the Terran. I've got a little crackling here, and it actually probably is a crackling. It probably does have the adrenal glands, but it's going, yeah, it's shaking a little bit. He needs to go into battle, do a little fighting, kill some SCVs, get his fix. But anyway, we do have, again, now both players just kind of sitting back macroing, and Morrow actually is going to be going for this high yield expansion. At the same time, he's clearing out all the creep and whatnot. Ooh, IGIdrA actually had a hatchery there. I did not notice that. My apologies, everyone. but it looks like it went down. Probably didn't do too much. He mined about 200 or 300 minerals. So he actually had it up for a little bit. My fault for not noticing that. The Zerglings do pick off a tank there. It's a very nice little win for EGIdrA. And we actually have a bunch of Broodlords on the way now. We have 4 Broodlords in production as well as 4 more already on the map. But luckily, Morrow's timing is pretty good. He's already got the Mobius Reactor, which is the ghost energy, on the way. He's got the starports for the Viking production. So he should be okay against these Broodlords. Now, see, as I said, he is starting to shell this. There's not a whole lot they can do in this whole area, especially until they have Vikings. We do see 2 Vikings on the way from Morrow. So before too long, he should be able to do this okay. Now, Morrow having to mass repair this, but he is actually going to lose quite a few SCVs in the process. And the Haiyu being forced to lift off. I would say it might be a lot safer for Morrow to just grab his 4th base right there. Because he actually, at this point, he kind of does need that 4th base to be able to keep up with EGIdrA. EGIdrA, we do see, has his 5th up and running, which is the high yield, making it even better. He actually might lose a lot of SCVs here. Pretty good reaction from Morrow, but still losing a few that he definitely could have saved. And once again, now EGIdrA not being too active with these mutas, but Morrow just has done such a good job. He's just all his focus is on the front right here. To take out a good Terran player like Morrow is a hard thing to do. Wow, great snipes coming down on the ghost, killing a whole bunch of the infestors. Now, luckily, those broodlings did manage to kill those ghosts before they managed to do too much damage. We do have we have a few Vikings, but we have quite a lot of Broodlords. That fungal growth right there, picking off 2 of them. And Morrow moving forward with all his Marines, seeing what he can do. EGIdrA sending in his Zerglings and Banelings as well as some SCVs for Morrow. And we do have everyone just dueling, seeing what they can do. It actually looks like these Broodlords are going to go down. The Marines have managed to get close enough that they're in range. The Ghosts throwing down some snipes. We have Vikings, and we do not have very much Corruptor support from EGIdrA. But we do have 7 Broodlords morphing in right here, as well as another Corruptor, and upwards of 50 Zerglings in the production tab. I did not see quite how many, but we can see right here there are a lot of Zerglings, and they are probably 3-3. No, they're actually just 0-2, but they do have the crackling upgrade, which for those of you that don't know, people just call it crackling. It's actually called adrenal glands. It makes the Zerglings, it's gone now. I can't show you because it's researched, but it makes them attack 20% faster, which is of course 20% extra damage. 20% extra damage of something with an attack speed of 0.59 and plus 3 upgrades. That's pretty good, especially when you can make this many. So now Morrow's actually trying to flee from this mass Zergling ball. With all his units actually getting a little bit surrounded right there, and there's the GG for Morrow. So it's interesting to see how it's actually the Broodlords are not the problem. It's the tier 1 units that are very fast and very scary that can often be the problems for Terran units. But either way, great game from both players. We see both of their APMs are just so high. Such good players. And just a wonderful game. It feels great to be back commentating. I hope everyone enjoyed it, and I hope all of you have a wonderful evening.